recording.
Good evening and welcome to Berry's Garden. I'm so thrilled to be speaking with Teresa Wallstra tonight, but not only with Teresa, also with her collective of guides that we know as Cynthia. What's going to happen is that we are going to allow Teresa, first of all, to greet you, and then she'll say a prayer to welcome in her guides and to set the intention of protection and the love vibration that her guides bring in. But we'll first allow Teresa to say good evening to you and tell you what this is all about.
Hi, Berry. Thanks very much. Always good to be in Berry's Garden and lovely to have all these participants joining us. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to be with us tonight. I would just like to start by saying that we are so excited because we've now got a new platform for the teaching of the guides. We've actually opened up what they call a school on the Teachable site, and we've got a whole lot of courses already available, which is quite exciting. So that I'm sure that Berry will actually put the link up there when we set the recording, or when we do the recording after, put the recording on YouTube. But it's very exciting that we've actually got to that point, and I have to give my gratitude to both Susan and Jill, who have been helping so much in the background. Thanks very much. So there we go. That's what I needed to say. And let's get on with it then. Let's actually ask the guides to come through after a prayer. Let's start with the prayer. Great Spirit, we ask for your protection as we join with the world of spirit. We ask that you would help us to open our minds and our hearts and our lives to all the information that will flow to us tonight. And we ask that you will bless what we are doing here. Amen. So, we greet you once again, beloved friends. We greet the Lady Berry, and we would say how wonderful it is to share with the Lady Berry, and of course with all who have joined us and all who intend to listen at a later time. Greetings and love to all.
Greetings, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us this evening again. It's always such a joy to be in your presence. We have no real agenda for tonight, but we would like to know what it is. What is the message that you would like to give us tonight?
All right. Well, you find yourselves in interesting times, do you not? And interesting times does not mean that it is easy. For all of you, there has been a struggle. And we would say to you, if you look back, you will see that for 18 months, your guides have been bringing you to this point within your life. The guides were all aware that this intense and unprecedented energy was coming to your world. It didn't take the guides by surprise, but all of you may have been surprised by this energy and what has been a lockdown within your world. But it has been specifically arranged. And we would say, if you need to look, and you will see that somehow your guides arranged for you to step into this time in the best possible way. You need to perhaps go back in your memories and understand why this worked out so very well for you. It may not seem perfect, but we would say to you, this opportunity to let go of what was, to step into what is, and to step into what will be, using this intense and unprecedented energy, is a wonderful opportunity for you if you would see it as such. And we understand that it isn't always easy to see opportunities when there are difficulties, but every difficulty is an opportunity. You learn your greatest lessons at the time of difficulties. So we would say to you, go forward in the knowledge that you are being brought to this place within your earthly life. And it is the most powerful place you will ever be in your earthly life. If you would allow your guides to work with you in order to bring changes to your life and the lives of others in the most powerful yet peaceful way, then you will find that this is the most fabulous opportunity you would ever encounter. If you look back at the last 18 months, particularly of your life, you will see that somehow seeds have been planted in your mind, ideas have been in storage, waiting to come to fruition. And it is as though this unprecedented, powerful energy in your world is the final rays of sunshine, which have actually created the seed to grow, caused the nurturing, that final little bit of nurturing. And we would say to you, when you step forward into each day from now onwards, you will begin to see the blessings rather than the difficulties, particularly those of you who are more inclined to understand that there is a spiritual energy at work within your world, within your lives. Yes?
Thank you. One of the things that occurs to me is that many people seem to be finding it more difficult as time goes on. So we are, after 35 days of level 5, we are now in today 11 of level 4. So that's about 46 days of lockdown. And many people are just finding that the demands of working online are very difficult. There are physical symptoms, dizziness, disorientation, losing track, fractiousness. Please, can you speak to us about these physical symptoms of stress and how we can manage them?
All right. Well, first we would want to say, are they all attributable to stress? And we would answer that immediately and say no. We understand that there is an element of stress, but this energy that we have spoken of, this unprecedented energy, is what is causing all those symptoms. Imagine, if you would, that you had always lived on the earth plane, and suddenly you are being raised to a level above the earth plane where you are almost flying, but the air is thinner. And as you breathe that air, you become dizzy, disorientated. Now we know it isn't the air, but the energy is much like that. The energy you are adapting to. And we would say to you, it is about, at this point, finding constant balance. And for those of you who have been taking the time to participate in the energy of the week, for many weeks now, we have, in fact, since September of last year, we have been guiding you through what has been the process of accepting the changing energy. If you can understand that as you walk, for you, walking is a natural circumstance now, but it wasn't when you were first born into your world. But now, what you do not realize you do is, as you take each step, you distribute your weight and you balance. And you take another step and you redistribute your weight and you balance. And all of that happens easily and naturally, but it is a change of energy. And we would say now, all within your world are shifting to another energy level. And this energy is intense. It is the most intense energy your Mother Earth has ever experienced. And that is in millions of years of her incarnation. This is the most intense energy ever that Mother Earth has experienced. If you go back to about 2004 in your time, you will see that Mother Earth began to acknowledge that there was a shifting energy. And at the time, we said that there would be a change with Mother Earth, and she would begin to shake and would not stop shaking until the greed was changed within your world. It doesn't mean that greed will disappear. But if you look at the consequences of this lockdown, and it isn't only South Africans who have experienced it, you speak of in terms of the South African lockdown, but there are many others around the world who are following. And we would say it is important that you understand that this changing energy has given all of you the opportunity to shift your own personal energy levels and to adapt to it. But it requires balance, and week by week, the energy is changing. In fact, we would go so far as to say hour by hour, the energy is changing. And until you find a point of balance, you will experience physical symptoms. But all of the physical symptoms you experience always stem from an emotional circumstance. So whatever happens in your physical body has been triggered from your emotional body, all right? And it is important to understand that at an emotional level, none of you are the same now as you were this time last year. Certainly none of you are the same as you were in January of this year. Those changes which have happened emotionally have actually been prepared in you. Your guides have been preparing it. We would want to remind you that your experiences in the earthly plane, the learning that you do as spirit, is converted from the emotional experiences you have had on the earth plane into the spiritual energy once you move to spirit world again. So we would say emotion is very important, and none of you can go through the earthly life without having experienced the depth of emotion that you need to. The emotional experiences happen because there are comparisons. So the sadder you have been, the happier you can be. The happier you have been, the sadder you can be. Those are the comparisons which are essential. And remember that at this time, emotions run very high, whatever those emotions are. And in order to adapt to them, to acclimatize, to bring balance, you need to convert everything, every emotion, through the portal of peace to the opposite positive emotion. Can you understand that?
Yes, thank you.
So that must take place through a process of meditation. And we would say, if you are angry, you need to go through a process of meditation where you go into a place of peace and then look again at that anger, convert it through the portal of peace to the place where you have love. So you can convert whatever emotion you experience through the portal of peace to a place of peace and love. And that makes you a more substantial being emotionally as well as spiritually. And all of these circumstances of dizziness, nausea, imbalance, irritation, all of these are opportunities to trigger. And they are reminding you, nudging you to use this energy of the portal of peace through meditation to take yourself to what is the opposite. And remember that you may not be able to hold on to the opposite. All right. If you have a deep sadness that is very much a part of your life, you may take yourself through the portal of peace in meditation to a place where you are joyful, and then you may slip back. It doesn't matter, because you are continuously driving yourself to the place where you find balance. You understand that?
Yes, thank you so much. It actually brings me to a place where I'd like to ask about, I've read that the veil between the worlds is becoming thinner. And that working with our guides more closely is becoming something that we need to be prepared for, and that we'll actually be able to speak to spirit much as I'm speaking to you now, but in a more general and everyday way. Could you speak to us about that? Is that a possibility?
Yes. Well, it isn't only a possibility, it is certainly one of the main focuses of spirit at this time, because it is breaking through the barriers. And you will see that the, let us say, the spiritual pathways that are used, whether they are religious of nature or spiritual, are changing. And if you look at this present time at what is happening by using what you would call technology and the internet, it is causing people to use a different energy. So it is causing people to actually adapt to another energy, even though they may have been attracted to, let us say, their religious message or their spiritual message. So many people, instead of attending, let us, for want of a better word, call it a sanctuary, where they would go for their spiritual growth, they are now attending that through another energy. And it requires an adaptation. When you are using technology, you are using another energy. And so it is making your minds work differently. So it is part of the preparation that encourages you to understand that there is another level of energy. And you will see that many more spiritual or religious beliefs now are going through the process of meditation. 20 years ago, it was unheard of for religious beliefs to envelop and encompass meditation. Now it is very much a part of their belief. But the best way to get to communication with spirit is through the process of meditation. And as you watch that grow, you will see that inspired messages are given to everyone. So is spirit drawing closer? Yes. Are they more accessible? Definitely. Is this part of the greater plan? Of course. Yes. There will come a time in your world where there will not be any professional in whatever field, medical, legal, financial, whatever field there will be no professional who does not rely on input and guidance from the spirit world. It will be natural. And it is natural. You in your world have grown away from what has been the natural communication with spirit and created an unnatural barrier. Now we move again towards this and using this beautiful, unprecedented energy which is prevalent in your world at this time. Yes?
Thank you. So one of the concerns about the energy that is prevalent in our world at this time is that it gives us an opportunity to change and become more of a society that values values rather than a society that values commercial exploitation. And yet there's an enormous push to go back to what we knew before, to what is familiar. How do we work with that? How do we hold those polarities and find a way forward?
Well, the choice must come from individuals, and individuals will make that choice. So you will see that many individuals begin to start new societies now. There isn't the need to follow what has been the prevalent societal structure. And this is the perfect opportunity for people to break through that society structure and create new ones. And there is a need for new ones. So much of society was created many years ago when what we wanted to call the Christian influence was intense. And at that time, the Christian influence was not a very forgiving one. It was very much a critical, just judgmental influence. It has begun to change, but we would say that influence must be broken in your world. And there should not be an identification of society with the restrictions and limitations placed on them. even families need to change. And this is now a perfect opportunity. When you go forward into what we would call the changes in your world as lockdowns are lifted, many will take with them a great deal of what they have learned. And they will be questioning what before they never questioned and simply accepted, which is as it should be. Will there be an overnight instantaneous change? Of course not. But it will be a gradual thing. And we would say that many more now have a greater understanding of themselves. And once you understand yourself better, you will begin to reflect that into the world. Your interaction with others will change. And we would say each one of you listening to this recording now can accept and acknowledge that you have changed as a result of what has happened. And you will never be the same again. You go forward now into your own new world, and you will take that new world into the world around you. So universal change begins to happen. It won't be instantaneous. It won't be a change that breaks through all of the greed. But the very fact that individuals now begin to question, as they must, and they question the authority which before they simply accepted, that is beautiful and a wonderful breakthrough for humanity as a whole. You understand that?
Yes, thank you. Humanity as a whole, Cynthia, relies on Mother Earth for our survival and our well-being. And yet we have not in the past been very kind to Mother Earth. So what I've been reading about Mother Earth as a living library and humanity as a living library of a sort as well. So I am wanting to know, how do we move forward to really enhance our relationships with Mother Earth and find a way for our communities to work in harmony with each other and with Mother Earth?
Well, you will find that that will begin to happen almost automatically. Many have run out of a source of food. And so many are turning to Mother Earth and her constant and ever-present generosity to try to grow new sources of food. And the more that that happens, the more the love for Mother Earth will grow. And that is as it should be. So we would say to you, gently begin to interact with Mother Earth again. Most of you have already in this time planting and planting for others and encouraging others to plant, and continue to do that, because each time you plant, you connect with Mother Earth and you feed back to her. Each plant gives love to Mother Earth. And as you nurture the love for the plants and for animals, you will be nurturing your love for Mother Earth. There is a move towards a greater generosity and kindness towards Mother Earth. Not completely, of course. You know, the greed and corporate greed will continue, but now there has begun to be the crack through which the light will come. All right?
Thank you. I think that we have time for one last question, and it's this. Is it too late to reverse global warming or climate change?
Well, we would say to you, climate change, it was planned for. It isn't quite as bad as you think it is. You see, humankind has such limited historic knowledge. And we would say, yes, there has been global warming, but it is the circle of life. Everything is a circle. There has been a warming and a cooling and a warming and a cooling on Mother Earth and around Mother Earth for millions of years, which are unaccounted for in the history of humankind. You have a history of perhaps a few thousand years. How can that possibly compare with the millions? And much of what you know with the millions of years is guesstimating. So we would say to you, has mankind done harm? Well, In some ways, mankind has. But do you think that Great Spirit, creator of all you know and so much more, has not anticipated this damage? No, of course, Great Spirit anticipated it. It is part of the circle of life, beginnings and endings constantly, a cycle and a continuous circle of life. Yes?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't have any further questions, but perhaps you would like to finish with the final message for us tonight.
Well, we would say to all of you, go forward with a sense of adventure. Your guides are right beside you. We are going to try to help you in every way we possibly can, bringing you continuous upgrades, knowledge, new knowledge that you can use. And we would also encourage you to connect with your guides in whatever way you find works for you. But we would say to you, go forward in the knowledge that if you work through meditation and the portal of peace, you will grow and everything will be fine. You don't have to be so anxious. Everything lies in the hands of Great Spirit. Even you, even your life, you will be fine. And so we leave you with our great and unconditional love for each of you, a perfect creation of Great Spirit. We leave in unconditional love.
Thank you, Cynthia. Blessings to you.
Thanks, Barry.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We've so enjoyed this time with all of you. The recording will be up within the next short while. We just need to download it and upload it again to the right portal. And if you would like to please just watch, I nearly said Cynthia's page. Well, it is Sacred Mentors, Teresa's page on Facebook for that link. You'll get it very shortly.
Thank you, Barry. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.